All right, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, I am so glad you came to join us, and I hope you find this to be just a really good use of your time. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love seeing everybody's faces and just coming back to educate themselves and grow in your position. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the description and grab the handout for this session so you can follow along. And if this kind of legal technology is helpful, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on legal technology talk. And Beth did drop the handout, but I'm going to drop it one more time so you can grab that, follow along, take notes as you see fit. I'm going to turn it over to Beth.
Okay, so today we're going to go over the using the packets and draft proposal or draft documents in Lawmatics, and we're going to do this in a practical way. I'm not going to be talking about a lot of the technical part of it behind it, but you will see it. But I want to show you different ways that we can use this in here. And so what we're going to do is I have a couple test matters set up in here, and these are all people that have scheduled consultations. Now, this is a consultation form that would get sent to a client, I'm sorry, to the host of the meeting when they're meeting with the client. So this is a very simple form. It can have all kinds of information on it as well, but we're not worried about that today. The one thing we want to worry about is this outcome. So if I pull this outcome out and I want to send the proposal, um, one thing it's going to ask me, do I need a design meeting? And for this one, I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to say, no, we don't need a design meeting. And then it's going to ask me for plan type options. What things did I discuss with them? What options did I give them? So for this guy, for Joe, we talked about a will for him or doing a trust. And those are the two things that I really want to have him, those are the two things he's deciding between. He's deciding which way he wants to go. You don't need to put two of them in there. You can just do one. And I'm just going to put a file note in here, just information, whatever we need to do, and submit it. And that's really all there is to it, because now this has been submitted. Now, if we go into Joe's matter and we look at his matter, and I was looking at the wrong thing, but that's okay. Um, Come on. Why is it not behaving like it should be behaving? Hold on one second.
Hmm.
I think because I had something on my other screen going and it didn't like it. That's what it was going. So right here, now here's my file uploaded. Here's my note created. Here's my form. So it put this file in there, the PDF of what I chose, and it's running this automation. So this automation is going to finish, in a minute or so, but I'm just going to click it and make it skip that delay and get moving on what it's supposed to be doing. And then we can look at what this automation is actually doing. So if we look at this, the change was, or the stage was changed, proposal sent, and your stages don't update automatically. So there's my proposal sent. That's where it was. And it went down the yes branch, and then it sent the signature packet and it sent it to this email address. So now if I go over into my email, this is what was sent to the client. And this is customizable. Okay, this is just what's there. Next step in setting up your estate plans here. Click here to complete it. And feel free to reach out with any questions. This doesn't need to be a long, drawn out thing, but when we access the signature packet, it's going to open this up. And this is the client side. This is what the client will be seeing. So it says verify your information's correct. Here they verify. And here are the two options that I gave them, the base will plan and the revocable living trust plan. And it gives all of the information for this. And I did this kind of plain, but you can do all kinds of things in here. You can put pictures in here. You can put, um, diagrams in here, any of that stuff.
Proposal.
Sorry, my door kept opening on the side and it's kind of noisy in here. Okay, so they can go through here. You can make this look any way you want it to look, right? And so when he's reviewed this and he goes, yep, this is what I want to do. I want to do a revocable living trust plan. Then he submits it. Remember, nobody in the firm is touching this, right? This got sent to him automatically. Nobody did anything. This now comes up, and now here's his engagement agreement. I agree to it, and we're going to start. And here's his engagement agreement. It pulled in the revocable living trust. We're going to, he signs really bad. We're going to put that in there, and we're going to click to add, and we're going to pick a date. Now, before I do this, before I submit this, I want to go back to his matter, and I want to show you something. Because now in e-signatures, right here's an engagement agreement. It's already been created and put in here. Okay. Remember, nobody did that. And I can see that Joe viewed this. I'm Joe. So in here now, this is ready to go. Yep, I'm ready to submit. I agree. Submit. Now, when this comes up, it now has his payment and scheduling page, right? And it says, yep, here's your information and here's your sign meeting. Go ahead and schedule that at least 3 weeks from today. So Joe can go out here and he can schedule this meeting. And he's going to schedule it out there. Wow, my calendar's a little full. He's going to schedule it out there on September 25th at 2 p.m. Okay, now he's scheduled his sign meeting. And he can then choose to send me an invoice. And it will then send him an invoice as well. And then we're not going to work on your plan until that invoice is paid, blah, 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 and submit it. You can also have him pay there as well. Now, if I go back to his matter, and first of all, on the e-signatures, we're going to automatically see that Joe has submitted it. It has been signed. And all of that information is in there. If I go back to his activities, that appointment is already scheduled. And if I had an automation set up behind this to convert that matter when he signed that, it would have already converted it. I don't have that set up in here, but it can do that. So now he's automatically scheduled the sign meeting. It's going to create and send him an invoice. All of that is all taken care of right here. Nobody has done anything, right? We haven't done anything on this side at all. And all of that happened. Now, that works very seamlessly. It works very well in pulling all of this in. And being able to use the two forms and the document generation all in one spot really helps with making that a seamless kind of flow. Remember, nobody in the office did anything except fill out that consultation form and put the options in there in that consultation form, the host of that meeting. So they filled that in, they hit the button, and all of this happened automatically behind the scenes. Now, yes, you can have notifications when this happens. You can absolutely have notifications that go to client services or anyone else that says, hey, they've signed this, hey, they've done this, all of that information in there. You can absolutely do that. Okay, so then we're going to go into this one, and this is Bob. And Bob has a wife, Jenny, and we are going to do the same thing, but in Bob's case, he is married. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to send the proposal. And we're going to say, yeah, he needs a design meeting. And their options are going to be an RLT or an APT, or revocable living trust or an asset protection trust. And we're just going to put a note in there. So we have that same thing, but we're going to send in proposal. We say, yes, we do need a design meeting for these people. And then this is going to send again, and it's going to go into my inbox. if I set my emails up right, it will go into my inbox.
Beth, while you're waiting for that, does this
Sure.
only apply to estate planning?
No, it does not. Estate planning is the easiest one to demo this in, because in estate planning, you're pretty much giving them options, but you can do the same thing for anything else. You can even do this for hourly, where on that first approval page, you can say, here be our hourly rates, here's what we've talked about, blah, blah, blah. You can have that first form be really anything that you want it to be. Um, you can absolutely do that. And it will go ahead and it'll send that out. It'll put the information you want in. It'll generate that engagement agreement based on whatever choices they made. So yeah, it's very flexible. You can run it for all different things. And oh yeah, here it's sending this proposal off. I don't have it yet. I don't know why my email is being so slow.
While it's doing that, a little tip you can do when you're working on things is you see testing +1 at Ettinger Tech in the
Yes.
middle of the screen and over there. The +1 is a really great way if couples have the same email address. Most email providers absolutely honor that. The +1 is the same email address and it will send to the same email address. It's just making the system think it's a different email address so it works with Lawmatics. But this is a trick that's even outside of Lawmatics. You can put +1, +2, +3, whatever, to make it a separate email address, even though it's the same email address. I
Right,
know Google and
exactly.
Outlook honor that.
That is called alias also.
Correct.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, and yeah, Janice, that's right. There's local email providers that it doesn't work for. Um, and it'll work pretty much for your big ones. Um, it doesn't work for AOL. And yeah, there's some people out there that still have AOL email addresses, and it doesn't work for local provider emails. A lot of those it doesn't work for, like your Comcast.com and stuff like that.
There's people that still have Juno. That was one of the first email
Yes,
providers.
yes, there is. There is. I don't know why this is not coming through to my email. It's being ridiculous. But in any case, that all work is working the same. I'm
Can
actually
you just
going
open that
to,
form, Beth? Oh no, it's a packet.
it's a packet. I can't do that. But I can, hold on. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to go fix something. I am going to do this. I'm going to change his email address and make it, I'm going to go here and go. I have used my email address so many times, I'm not really sure which one I used. So we're not even going to do that. But I'm also going to change his wife's email address as well. And I'm just going to send this to um, my one and try this all over again. And I'll show you how to do this, how you can send this packet manually. So if somebody comes out and goes, oh, well, maybe we need to send this manually. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here and use mine. Because obviously you can use +1, but you can use plus as many other things as you need as well. So if I go back into this matter, now that one is still out in the Ethernet out there on its way. But here's how, if you want to set it manually, you can. So you can go here, send signature packet. We can select the signature packet we're going to send. This is a couple. So I'm going to send it to the couple. And there it is, and send it off. Now, hopefully this one comes through to my email, as it should. Um, okay, so how to set up the packets. Yes, and it did come right through. So here we go. I'll come back to how to set up the packets at the end. So here it is. Now, when I access his signature packet, it's of course going to come to Bob because Bob is the first one, but it also has spouse down here as well. Okay. And then here's their trust plan. Here's their asset protection plan. Which one did you choose? We're going to say they chose this asset protection plan. And we're going to go ahead and submit that. And now it's going to generate this document. Okay, so it's going through its whole process. I agree. Going to go down here. Now, look, here's Jenny's also as well. Here's what happened. Before Bob signs this, I want to show you this. This came through. I don't have a template behind this one. Probably should. So it just came through as a default, but here it is. And if we click to view and sign this document, this is Jenny's. So when it creates that document, it automatically sends one to the spouse if need be. But I'm just going to have Bob go ahead and sign this and put the date in. He's going to go ahead and submit this and submit that. Now he's up to payment and scheduling. Remember, we said Bob needs a design meeting. So now here's your design meeting. Schedule this at any time. He's going to schedule it for the 27th at noon. And then he needs a sign meeting 3 weeks after. So he's going to schedule that out to the 29th at 9:30. And we're going to say, yep, send me an invoice. And it can go ahead and send him an invoice off for that. And there we go. So it can do all of that. That is a signature packet in both ways, just for a single person or a couple. Now, if I go back into the matter and I go into e-signatures, here's my engagement agreement for a couple. I can look at this and see that Bob submitted it, Jenny viewed it, and John didn't do anything. So
I have it right here. I'll sign it.
so if you, and one of the questions, if you have a co-client situation, co-clients are not spouses, yes, absolutely. We just have it in there as the spouse, and it is set up to send to the spouse, but you can have that be anybody. You could have, all the signers, if you have 5 signers, you can have that. And it will go
I
to anyone
submitted,
it
Beth.
needs to. Oh, so John went through and John signed it. So here we are. John did it, Bob did it, Jenny didn't. Let's go over here and sign Jenny's for her. Oh. And again. Now she's ready to submit, and she submits it. Now, as she submitted it, this will update, and now it is completed. So if there was a automation behind that to go and to do something else with that, it would convert it to hired or whatever. That would happen at this point. In any case, all of these meetings are already set up. Confirmation emails would have gone out. This is my test system. I don't have them set up in here, but your confirmation emails would have went out. The reminders would all be scheduled. All of that is completely taken care of. And you can put things on that automation like notifying people that drafting needs to be started and whatever we're doing. So all of that can happen just from this, and nobody's touched a thing since that consultation form. Nobody internally in the form, except John had to sign it because I made him sign it, but that's it. That's that normal stuff. Okay. Now, before I go into the draft documents, I want to, a question was asked about how do you set these up? So we go into docs and forms, and here's signature packets, and here's how they're set up. I'm not going to go in detail with all of this. I'm just going to hit a couple high points because if you're going to experiment around with this, here's some frustrations that you may run into. When you're setting them up, this is like the main setup. So you have your custom form, and this is whatever that form is, that's your initial like proposal form. That pulls in things depending on choices made from the consultation form. And then you have your engagement agreement, and then you assign your signers to it here. Now, and then you have your payment and scheduling form. So you put your scheduling in your payment form and you use conditional logic to do whatever you need to do over there. And you just link them all together in here and they're ready to go. Now, I didn't. And you can view it here. So you can go through and see what it is. Unfortunately, you can't do this from a matter to view it and look at it. So it gets a little tricky in there. But you can view it and see how it is. And then you can also adjust the email that goes with it as well. And you can send right from here, but you shouldn't. You should be sending it from the matter. And in the couple one, here's a frustrating part. In the couple one, we have this spouse, okay? And that is who that needs to go to. And you set this here. You will not have the option of spouse here if spouse is not on this form. So on this form, yes, I need to go out of it because I clicked the wrong thing. On this form itself, we have to put the spouse in. Because if you don't, it is not going to send to the spouse. It's not even going to give you the option. It has to be on this first form. Just know that, because that was the biggest frustration that I had in learning this and setting that up. But that's all it is. That's all it is to set up. You have to make your form separate. You have to make your document separate. But once you have those made, this is where you like mush them together and make them a packet to send out. Okay. Now let me close some of these out here. You can figure out where I'm at. Okay. So now we are to James, and James is the last one. James has a consultation, and we have this consultation form. For the consultation outcome, I am going to go send an agreement. And look what happens here. There's some other things that happen. It says, do you want a draft agreement for approval? So if I just leave it at send agreement and I leave that as no, it's just going to create the agreement and send it off to them, right? I'm not going to make any changes for it. This is where you have, this is for attorneys that like to do things different all the time. And they don't have a lot of standards in place. If you have standards in place that you can nail down, you can do those in a packet easily. They're not so easy to do in a packet if there is no standards. And what I mean by that is the attorney goes, oh, I'm going to give this client, I'm instead of charging them $500 an hour, I'm going to charge them $450 an hour. And it's all over the place. And he doesn't have like set like 450, 400, but he goes, oh, this one it'll be 460 and this one will be 320. And like when it's like that, you can't have it, there has to be standards in order to do a packet to send to somebody. And if you don't have those standards in place, a packet doesn't work real well. However, sometimes we need to add things to proposals, or I'm sorry, to agreements. We need to do like, you need to be able to be flexible. So we want to draft an agreement here for approval, and we're going to say, yeah, he needs a design meeting, and we're going to go flat fee, and we're going to say he's doing an RLT single. That's what he's doing. And at this point, you're not giving options for the plan because now you're sending the agreement. And we're just going to do this and submit this for this matter. Now, that is not going to send anything to the client immediately. And if I go here, now this automation is running, this draft document review and send. So if I open this, it created a draft for the document engagement agreement. It sent this email to me and it created a task for me. So if I go into task, there is a task here to review, approve, and send engagement agreement. This is the email that I got. agreement's ready to approve for James Testing Jones. And I can click here to approve the agreement. It's going to take me directly to my e-signatures page, and this is in here as a draft. So this isn't sent to anybody. It's not going to send to anybody until I say it can. I can do several things over here. I can preview it. So when I preview it, it brings it out. Oh, does that look good? Do I need to make any changes to it? On a preview screen, you can't make changes, but you can say, yep, it's good, approve it. Oh, I need to make some changes. I can go to the edit screen. It brings it up just like this. I can edit before I send it. I can make any changes to this. This is not going to change the template. This is only going to change this agreement that gets sent out. So I can go on here and make any changes that I want for this, and I can simply approve it. I can go, yep, approve and send, or I can also save it back as a draft. If I made changes and I want somebody else to look at it, I can do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and click approve. Yep, do I want to approve? Yes, I do want to approve. Approve, save and approve, because it's going to make sure that you go, oh, you made changes. Are you sure you want those? Yes, I do. So now this approved has a green check mark on it. My options over here have changed as well, because now I have a send. Send was not there before, and we couldn't send it. So I can unapprove it as well if I want to do that, or I can send it. So when I click send, it's going to go up. I'm going to use this email template, blah, blah, blah. There it goes, off it sent. This is this whole drafting that you can generate a draft in here. You can review the draft. You can do all of that stuff and then send that off. This makes it very easy to be able to have someone look at those before they go out. One thing I want to put around that I want to show you around this, these are just with regular documents. You have the option to do that. If you're going to send a one-off document and you want to create a draft, up here in Send Docs, you have the option to create draft or send immediately. So if you want to create a draft, you just select which one you're going to create, put all your information in here, and down here it says Save as Draft, and it'll create a draft in there. And then, of course, this operates the same as these were sent, and they need to be signed and filled out. You need people to sign them. And so that's how all of that works. Oh, one more thing. With these drafts and these approved drafts, you have to, there is an option in your manage users and manage roles. So when we have these different roles in here, when you have somebody assigned to a role that's not testing, there is a setting for this. And you go into edit, and that is document approvals. That has to be turned on for someone to be able to approve a document. What you can do for this is if you have different roles for attorneys, client services, front desk admin, you may turn on document approvals for the attorney, but not for the admin. And like that gives you that control over who can approve that and who can't approve these things. So yeah, that has to be turned on for people to be able to approve. Okay, John.
All right. I do have a couple things. So you walked through a lot. Can you give on the packet just a basic, high level, step-by-step basics of what happens once the attorney who is doing the consultation completes the form in the consultation, like consultation, proposal, contract, payment, and what is the attorney's involvement in the process? So literally just a quick, this is what happens. Boom, 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 and then their involvement in it.
Right. The only thing they're doing is filling out that form unless they have to sign it. That is the literal only thing. And you can see this is this automation that this automation started and it changed the stage to proposal sent. It sent the signature packet out, and that was it. And that signature packet, it went out, it went to the attorney, or it didn't go to the attorney to sign yet. It wouldn't go to him to sign until the agreement's created. And the agreement's not created until they fill out that first form. So, like, the attorney doesn't have to do anything. Client services technically doesn't have to do anything. If you set up automations to run when someone's hired and when somebody fills out when somebody signs the engagement agreement, those things will all run. And I should have done this, if they close the form, if they go through and they fill out the first part and then they sign the second part or don't, and the last one, they don't schedule. They're like, oh, I did this, but I really got to look at my calendar. I can't do this right now. And they close the form. The next time they open up that form from the email, it is going to go ahead and it'll open up the same spot. It's not going to make them start from the beginning. It's not going to create another engagement agreement. It's going to open in the same spot. And then they can do all of that. All of your automations that you set up to run off of the engagement agreement that it is signed are going to run when they sign that in the middle of that packet. The packet doesn't need to be complete to start that. And yes, you can add reminders to this. Those are actually right in your reminders with everything else. There's signature packet reminders you can set up in here. And when you set them up, it is so many days after the packet is sent. So you can set up a daily reminder if you want, and it'll stop once that packet is submitted.
Perfect.
Okay.
So this works amazing for virtual meetings, obviously. Though for in-person meetings, can they just have a computer or a tablet available to the client to log into their email to do this with the attorney in the office?
Yeah, you can do this, but in that case, you wouldn't want to do a packet, because if they're signing something, they already know what they want. Like you're not sending them a proposal. This works well in person. I know when I used to do those meetings, we would talk through all of their options, and they would walk out of there with a sheet of paper that said, these are your options. This is replacing that sheet of paper, or in supplement to that sheet of paper, that here's your options. And so you don't need to be calling them and going, hey, have you looked that over? Have you made a decision yet? Or sending them multiple emails saying, have you made a decision yet? Which then they need to communicate back to you what their decision is. And then you have to create the engagement agreement and send it off. This just took care of all of it and just said, here's your options. Pick one. When you do, here's your engagement agreement. Pick it. Let a computer do what a computer can do. Like a computer, you don't need a human to do that. That's not interaction. I'm not saying you shouldn't call them and follow up with them. You absolutely should. That is building that relationship. But you don't need to do that to advance it through. And if they want to make the decision at midnight, they want to make the decision sitting on their toilet, they can. It doesn't matter. Okay.
So in person, they can absolutely generate that agreement, hand it to them, go through it,
Correct.
and with an Apple Pencil, just have him sign the bottom part.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
And you don't have to, it's a lot easier now. I do want to come back to that because you could do that before, but it was really clunky. And I'm going to use James here as a thing. They can have that open. You can have it that it generates and just have, like you said, an iPad for them to log into to do it. But all of that information is right here now, and this engagement agreement is right here. And when one is signed, I think I closed all of my matters for my signing. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. So if I go back to here, this one. This is what John really likes. This one's partially submitted. It was sent to me. Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and sign this one really quick so you can see it. That is not my signature, but it'll work. So now I'm ready to submit this. Yes, I submit this. Now, if I go into this, and it's going to show that it is now completed. It just flipped. There's my completed. You don't need to go in the files. There is a, right here is the engagement agreement, the signed engagement agreement. It's automatically in the files. However, it is also over here. And you can view it right here, and you can download it from right here. You don't have to go into the files and find it. It's right here. Okay, so that's another really cool feature, that splitting the e-signatures out like that gave you those options.
Perfect. So what I hear is after the consultation form is submitted, right there in the consultation, whether it's virtual or in person, the client gets everything, and the next step is for the firm to start the work once it's gone through, unless the client has questions.
Correct. Yes.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
I did want to comment on scheduling, design, and sign, or whatever required meetings you need for your area of law. You can do it automatically in the signature packet like Beth showed. But if you do not want them on your calendar until after they've paid, you can trigger appointment requests to send to them after an invoice is paid. So that could be the other direction as well, where they pay and then it sends that. So just know that that's not an option. Because getting them on the books is, we've learned it's a lot of firms' biggest struggle is trying to pin them down to get these appointments on. But by having it there in the signature packet, or once they pay, an automation will kick out, here's your appointments to schedule. It's going to be much more efficient, which will then allow you to map out the legal work that you need to do for them, so you can finish it prior to these meetings, not 5 minutes after the meeting started. A client service coordinator or paralegal is rushing in the work because they just completed it. And then, do draft agreements for approval work with packets?
No,
Okay. I
it
just
is
wanted to
one.
clarify that for everybody,
Yep. Yep. You can't do both. You can do one or the other.
which makes sense because if you're just going to send in an agreement, that's where you're going to review it and send it.
Correct.
And then, is there a way to see a list of agreements to review and approve, and also send in the global agreement list and filter?
Yeah, so you can go over to Docs and Forms, and here is your e-signatures. And your e-signatures are here. These are agreements that were created and they are out there for signature, or they're in here as a draft, because you can see there's a draft in here, right? So this is all of your e-signatures. This is not your packets. Because if someone has received a packet and they haven't gone through it to where they created an agreement, that agreement's not created yet because it happens in the middle of the packet. So it's not going to be in here. It will, however, be in your matters that it was sent, that packet was sent. That email and stuff is in the matter, but it's not going to be, the e-signature is not going to be here until they complete that first form. And by the way, I should tell you this. The first form is required. You are required to have a form and a document for the packet. The third form is an optional. So you don't have to have a third form on there for anything. I put it in there to be able to demonstrate that you can collect payments, you can schedule meetings, you can have them do whatever they need, whatever their next step is. Before, we used to follow up with them and say, what do you want to do? Okay, now I'm going to send you an agreement for that. And you're going to send that agreement off to them, and you're going to follow up with them to pay that agreement. And then they're going to or sign that agreement. They're going to sign that agreement, come back, and you're going to go, okay, now I'm going to send you an invoice, and you're going to send them an invoice, and you're going to follow up with them to pay that invoice. And then it's going to come back, and you're going to go, okay, now you've paid your first part. Now you got to schedule this meeting where this is like condensing it, sticking it all together, and go boom, boom, boom. And it's really simplified the whole process.
And I always like to say, when you're developing your signature client experience, what is reflecting on your firm? You know, the firm down the street may be doing everything on paper and you're doing it this way. This is a huge addition to your signature client experience. And I'm not even saying what makes you different. It's what makes you stand out and shine and let everybody know you know what you're doing. You're taking care of the client. You're hand holding them through the process. And they don't care that they know a lot of this is automation. People don't care anymore. They just want it efficient, accurate, and timely. That's what they're looking for. And this is a big addition to your signature client experience. And if you haven't developed your signature client experience that is that proper flow, schedule a discovery meeting with us. We would love to talk to you about that. You can go right on our website at ettingertech.com to schedule that discovery. But this is a really big addition to your signature client experience.
Okay. Are we
All
ready to
right, let's
go
go into
into
Q&A.
Q&A? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap this up, real quick, just a note for anyone watching on YouTube, we always stop the recording here and then open it up for live Q&A. This part is never recorded because it allows people to ask real questions and talk through real situations. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, we do this live every Friday at noon Eastern. It's free, and the link to join is in the description.